but I marked you here, so.
While he is doing that, Robin, I know you're kind of doing double duty as
A little bit, yeah.
secretary and vice president, and I'd like to offer to do some secretarial duties that to help you out. I don't know what that looks like.
Oh my gosh! Wow! Wow!
But, I don't know whether. Well, we'll connect, but
Okay.
like whether that's me doing the minutes for the general board meeting or whatever it is.
Okay.
I know you have a lot on your plate with both roles, so I just wanted to make that offer.
Oh my God, that's great. That's really great. Yeah, yeah. Well, we're going to talk about a possible candidate for secretary and board member tonight.
Okay.
But yeah, in the interim, I don't know. I don't even know how this is all going to look. And there are some other things we're going to talk about tonight that you're going to be made aware of.
Okay.
I think, let me see if it's on the agenda, might be under new business. But, okay, but thank you for getting me the MR and so quickly, both of them. Yay, that was so helpful. Okay, why isn't he signing on? What's happening? It's already 6:37. Okay, well, we have one attendee, so we apologize for the snafu here. Colby's trying to sign back in so we can start our meeting. Don't see him logging in. Maybe he's having internet issues. I know our GTLNC website was down. I don't know if it still is.
It is still down because
It's still down.
Well, I don't want to say it's down. It is up. There's I'm pretty sure a more technical person would know more, but
it says this connection is not private.
That's right. It's a security thing. It doesn't think our website's secure.
Oh, I see.
You can still go to the website, but you have to go past the disclaimer and so forth.
Oh. You can visit this. Okay. But would anybody want to do that? That's the thing. Would they want to?
I know our website's not going to steal any information from me.
Oh, I see.
And so it's a safe bet for me. I think it has to do something with renewal of the safety certificate on the website.
I see. Okay. Okay, it looks like Colby has signed on. There he is. Can we hear him? That's the question.
Do you hear me now?
I don't know because I can't see.
And then do you hear me?
There we go. Talk, Colby.
Yes, testing. You guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Now I can hear you.
Good.
Great. All right. You are recording?
Yes,
So
recording and streaming.
Call the meeting to order at 6:39. Let me type that in. Great. This is the executive board meeting. Wait a second. This is minutes. Oh, I didn't change the word. Hang on. Minutes. Okay. This executive board meeting is coming to order at 6:39 p.m. Let's call roll. Colby.
I am here.
Robin, I'm here. Arthur.
Here.
Great. And at this time, we do not have a secretary or an alternate secretary. So this is our whole committee. And there's only 3 of us on. How about that? There's no audience. So I guess there is no open public forum. So we can just move right on.
Okay.
And we have
Board
no
member news and announcements.
member news or announcements. So I'm gonna just put here, no public. All right. And there are no board news and announcements. Minutes. To motion A to approve the GTLNC July 12th, 2022 executive minutes. Do I have a first?
Colby.
Colby, thank you. Arthur, will you take the second?
Yes.
Thank you. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, hearing none, motion carries 3-0-0. Great. Great.
We have the general board agenda.
Okay, general
For
board
next
agenda, motion B, approve the GTLNC July 19th, 2022. General board agenda, do I have a first?
I want to, let's see, so we need to discuss.
Oh, we have
some
to,
things.
we need a first and a second.
Yeah, yep. Yes, I'm Colby first.
Colby, and then Arthur, will you take the second?
Yes.
Great. All right, discussion on the agenda.
Yes, we've been approached to possibly participate in the turkey trot. So let's put that on the agenda.
Okay, so let me pull up the agenda.
And I don't have access to, Rob, if you want to make me co-host or host again.
Oh,
So I can make it
yes, yes, yes. How do I do that more? Make host, make host. There you go. Change host. There you
So I
go.
can see.
I have to get my book so I can make a note. So you want to add turkey trot participation?
Yes,
Where-
just put
where-
that.
Do you want that under exec?
Sure.
Okay.
And then we have to discuss, it's come to my attention that Lee Jameson apparently has turned out after 8 years. Eight great years that he provided us. So we need to discuss that.
And what does that mean, Colby? What does that mean for our board?
It means I've spoken to the city, Erica at the city, and it means that he is no longer eligible to serve. Again, he's done a great job, and this is just the natural way it is after 8 years. So he'll, I guess he'll have to step down, and then we'll have an empty board seat to fill.
Okay, so under exec, do we add another motion to?
It won't be a motion. There's no voting or anything like that. There's no decisions to be made as far as.
So you're gonna need to, at this
Announce it.
upcoming meeting,
Announce it.
announce another candidate or just more search?
I'm not going to ask because we'll do what we did before. We will provide on the website
Okay,
a button. Catherine was gracious enough to do that last time, and we'll do that again. By the way, our website is down, currently not working. It was working this afternoon, late this afternoon, and then Jonathan Gregory brought to my attention that it's not working at this time, but it'll be up and running again soon. I think it's, as Arthur, I heard, said it's probably just a certificate needs to be renewed. So I've contacted US. Anyway, back to Lee. Yeah, I just didn't make that announcement. I don't have an email for Lee. I did leave a voicemail.
I have an email for Lee.
Oh, you do? Okay, just provide that offline if you
I
don't
will
mind.
send that to you. It's
Thank you.
it's the guy who fields all of his emails.
Okay,
So that's
Yeah.
why his name is
Okay.
there. John Moscow.
oh, I don't, okay, just email me. That'd be
I
great.
will.
His contact
I
info, and we have to give Lee written notice. Again, this is not because he didn't do anything wrong. It's just after 8 years, and that's what our bylaws say. So let me know when you put that on the agenda, and then I have a couple other.
Okay, so
Thanks, Ed.
on the agenda, we're just going to, do we say that Lee is terming out? Do we write that on the
Yes.
agenda? Okay, and
Yes,
we are looking for another candidate.
yes,
Okay, and these are also under exec.
Yes.
Okay, great. Great.
Then I have, oh yeah, Robin, you and I would still be on public safety. Should we, well, that will bring that up, I guess, maybe we'll bring that up in new business later. Also, there's 2 letters that Jonathan Gregory sent to me. One is, I'd like to put these on the agenda. One is a letter of support for Paul Kokorian, who has been a great progenitor of our neighborhood council. It's a relatively short letter, and we'll provide this in the packet. The other one is regarding Prop 4118 that we discussed at a previous meeting. And
Okay.
I'll
Wait,
forward these on.
letter
So these are motions, letter of support for Paul Kokorian.
Paul Krikorian, and then the other is what?
It's about 4118. It was a measure that passed city council last month, I believe, or 2 months ago. And it's basically strengthening our position on 4118.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yes.
Where did both of these come from? From Jonathan?
Yes, from Jonathan. Jonathan requested that they be placed on the agenda for a motion for us to discuss.
Okay, wait. First of all, Arthur dropped off, but he's
Okay. Let
on.
me
So
see.
we have to bring him back.
We have 3 participants. Let me see why where he went.
Well, because yeah, Arthur, I saw him.
I see. He was never brought on. There he is.
Yeah, just bring him back on
Here he is.
and talk. No, no. So, okay, there we go.
Okay, there's Arthur.
Okay, so my question is, so these recommendations came from Jonathan, and this is the first I'm hearing about it. And I would imagine that other people on the board, it would be the first they're hearing about it. So I think rather than putting motions on the agenda, that we actually have a discussion. It would be under a committee, whatever committee that would be, either exec or whatever committee you deem necessary. And we have a discussion, like when they talk about it, or it's brought up under new business. So that, hey, sorry, it's dog walking time.
Okay.
So that they're, hold on one second. Okay, sorry. So, I am hesitant to put anything on the agenda that we will be voting on where people have not had any knowledge of it, and we're already voting on it. So,
Well, it would go in the packet. For instance, we're not voting on it now. We'd be putting it in the packet to be
well,
sent
that
out
part's
to board
fine.
members. And then they'd have these 6 days between now and next Tuesday to read it over.
No. What I'm trying to say is that it should be brought up at a meeting, not just, put into a packet of documents that hopefully people will have time to look at. This should be brought up. Am I wrong, Arthur? Shouldn't this be something that we actually have a conversation about, even in some discussion, so that the public can be part of it and at least speak out either for or against, or maybe expand on the idea? It's a letter that he maybe wrote that maybe we want to change wording, or, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm off base here.
So, Robin, this is one of the recent changes to our bylaws. Before, only the president could submit motions, but now, anybody can. And before, you had to go through committee, and I actually, on a system process basis, I agree with you. Everything should go through committee and then go to the general board. But during the last bylaw revision, this was made possible. So
But-
I do prefer,
it's not that I'm saying it should go through committee. What I'm saying is we should never put a motion on an agenda that isn't sort of, we have time to discuss it. So
But isn't this the committee? Like, for instance, if this would go up to the
yeah,
executive committee.
we're
this
an
is the committee
executive
right now.
committee and we're having the discussion and we will, under exec, Colby, you'll see, we have two things exec wants to talk about. A letter of support for Paul Krikorian. We've attached the letter. So everybody please take this week and read it and get back to us so that if we need to make any changes. And by the next meeting, we can go ahead and vote on this if we have no objections or no revisions. And the same thing with the measure passing. You know, I'm reluctant to put anything on an agenda that pushes an agenda of any kind without having a breath to sort of look at what we're actually asking the public to look at and make sure that everybody understands what we're doing. Because I just feel like everything's so one and done. Like everything happens so fast. And I you know, that's not the way the city works in any way, shape, or form. As you all know, it takes a lot of time to kind of put thought behind something before they even make a move. And so I'm just kind of reluctant to put something that Jonathan wrote that I haven't seen. Yes, I now am being made aware of it. And whenever it gets sent to me, I'll have time to read it. But, you know, I feel like, will the public have time to read it? Because by the time we get these posted, will be sometime towards the end of the week. And then the meeting is Tuesday. So there really isn't going to be that much time.
Okay, put on discussion, Krikorian letter of support, and then put on, it's called letter of action regarding 41:18.
Okay, wait, letter of support for Paul Krikorian. And then what was the other one?
The other one is letter of action.
Letter of action.
Let's see,
41.
regarding, say, slash LAMC 41.18
Great.
in GTLN, Greater Toluca Lake. Just,
GTLNC.
Yeah, there's a just, in our area, there's a trouble spot. As you might be aware, 4118 provides the ability for special enforcement zones to exist, which makes it less likely encampments will be built.
Oh, okay.
And there's a trouble spot that's brought to my attention. So basically what this letter is asking is for that enforcement zone to be initiated in this trouble spot.
Yeah. So again, I have no problem voting on something that I know information about, but to put something on an agenda that, we might have the ability to sway one way or the other, yes or no, without any sort of discussion, I just sort of feel like we need to kind of hold back just a little. So,
well,
I think we have.
I respect your thoughts. I just feel like everything moves so slowly, and I don't like when things move slowly. So,
but it's not moving slowly. To me, everything's moving very quickly. When we put something on an agenda and we vote on it, and then we have to backpedal. I mean, that's happened twice now where we've had to re-vote on something because the public suddenly went, well, wait a minute, you just passed something. So all I'm saying is I just would like to see a discussion before we ever vote on it. Like, I have no problem talking about it, but I guess
the thing is that discussion could happen next week, and then we could vote on it at that same moment. The thing is, if we have good discussion next week, then next month, then we'd vote on it, and then it would reopen that old discussion, and we might just be going around in circles. That's my concern.
Well, okay.
You know what I mean? We could knock this out. Like if everyone reads this letter in the next week, or these two letters.
Have you read the letter, Colby?
I'm sorry?
Have you read the letter?
Yes. And if people like them, then we can say, hey, this is great. If people don't like them, then, or we want to modify it, gives us some time, in the next month to modify it and then vote on it at the next meeting.
Mhm.
It just means every time we're going to vote on something, we're going to have to reopen discussion. And I think the letters are I think they're good. I mean, so I think it's helpful. So I think the Krikorian letter would be easy. It's a slam dunk. It's just, just sort of patting him on the back as we did with the LAPD,
Mhm.
which I think is helpful.
Well, like I
And the
said,
other one,
I haven't seen either, so maybe I will feel differently after I look at it.
okay,
but,
all right, then we'll put it on for discussion next meeting. I just want to move on.
Okay.
So letter of support for Krikorian, and then the letter of action with 4118.
Great, okay.
All right, moving
Anything
right
else
along.
to change on the agenda?
I'm sorry.
Is there anything else we need to change on the
I'm
agenda?
just looking at my notes here. I'm looking at I have that, I have that, took a trot. That's it. Okay, I'm looking at the members of the public, which involves, I see Tess, I don't see your hand raised, so we'll move forward.
Okay.
Hold on, hand raised. Okay, hold on, Tess has a comment. Hey, Tess.
Hi, you guys. Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Oh, you're fading in and out, but I hear you now.
Okay, is that
Okay,
better?
that's better.
Okay, thank you. I believe very strongly that both of these items should be on the agenda for discussion and vote on Tuesday. Robin, I hear your comments. I understand them and I disagree. I think people who are interested in this stuff will read it. The letters are good. I would recommend perhaps some adjustments, but this is very important. It's very timely, given what's been happening in City Hall. And I think our people in our community need to know about it. If you would like to withhold your opinion or your determination or your deliberation, that's up to you. But I don't think it's fair to withhold it from the public, especially when these are very vital and important and time-sensitive issues now. So I agree with you, Colby. These should go on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Tess.
I'm not saying not to put them on the agenda. I absolutely think they're both worthy of bringing up and having a discussion. I'm not saying not to put them on the agenda. I am 100% for putting them on the agenda. What I am not sure about is whether there should be a motion and a vote before everybody gets to read everything before they vote on it.
Well, if it's all posted in a timely manner, what is your concern? If it's posted 72 hours, it's Brown Act compliant, where is the concern, Robin? I don't understand.
Just depending on what they say. I haven't seen the letters, Tess, so I can't say.
Okay, well, they were forwarded some time ago.
I know, I didn't get them to Robin in time.
Okay, all right, so then
So Robin hasn't seen them and Arthur hasn't seen them. I apologize, but I just read them today.
Well, and the board hasn't seen them, right? It's not just me.
Right. Well, the exec board hasn't seen them. Right. Well, the general board hasn't seen them because this is where we make the agenda for the general board generally at this meeting.
Okay, so.
Well, I think they're very much worth putting on the agenda, Colby. So that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tess. All right, Robin, we'll put them on the agenda to discuss.
Yep.
Thanks. Okay. And where were we? We were at, oh yeah, let's go to, hold on, I'm looking at the general board agenda. Are we at MER time? I think we're at treasurer's report.
Yep. So we need
Yes.
to.
Oh wait, actually we got the vote on the agenda.
We have to vote on the general
as
board.
amended.
So motion
As amended.
B, approve the GTLNC July 19th, 2022 general board agenda, and I'll put as amended. Oops. Sorry. Where did it go? It just skipped. Okay. Colby,
Yes.
Robin, yes. Arthur,
Yes.
great. Motion carries 300. Okay, Arthur, go ahead and read your motion.
Sure.
Do you have it in front of you? I could read it.
I do have it in front of me.
Okay,
Motion C, approve the July 2022 MER and expenditures for reconciliation submission to the city clerk. Do we have a first?
Robin,
A second?
Colby?
Thank you.
Okay. So let me see if I can share. You might need to turn on sharing for myself.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm looking at something else. Let's see. I'll make you. So if I do co-host, I'll make you shareable, right? I think
Yes.
so.
Okay, let me try again. Okay. So let's do this. Okay. July 2022. So we had our budget for the year is $32,000. So that's our opening balance. During July, we had 2 Apple One invoices come through, totaling $1,942.71, and then we had our Google invoice for $99, and then MailChimp for $28.99, giving us a closing balance of $29,929. We do have separate motions for July and August, so I don't know if they want me to go into.
No, let's do July 1st because I
Okay.
separated them. I probably should have put them together, but let's, any questions on the July MER?
No.
There's a hand raised. Nope, it's not.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
Wait, there is. Yes, there's Tess. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Tess, go ahead.
Hi, thank you. So Arthur, can you tell me roughly what our annual sort of overhead is? Is it in the $20,000 to $22,000 range? And the reason I'm asking is because last night at the Plum meeting, a motion was proposed to create a capital improvement project or some such thing in the neighborhood of $8,000, which, if my understanding is correct, or if what was suggested at the meeting last night, that our overhead budget for the neighborhood council for the year is $20,000 to $22,000, then an $8,000 expense would basically eliminate any further discretionary spending for the rest of the fiscal year. Is that accurate, somewhat accurate, or not accurate?
Okay, I will give you an answer. So
Is our budget still 32,000? It hasn't been restored,
it
correct?
hasn't been restored.
Okay.
So what I'm I guess I'll move on to just so you can see. I'm going to stop sharing and reshare on an Excel file just so you can see the numbers. Okay, so our budget of $32,000 consists of an admin piece, and what we're including in that is, our marketing coordinator plus website hosting plus the Gmail services and so forth, and so that is about $18,952. With that being said, I mean, we submit a budget at the beginning of the year, but we're not, beholden to that budget that we agreed on. We can,
We can make modifications.
we can make modifications. So if this is something that the board wants to do, then they can go down that road.
Well, okay, but all right, so I see your budget. Thank you for sharing the spreadsheet. So our approximate overhead, roughly, which can be reduced or not, is roughly what for the year? With the Apple One, the hosting, the Zoom, the supplies, email, etc.
$18,952.
Okay, so then an $8,000 chunk would be 26, 27 grand. Okay, so we would have very little discretionary spending. So I would like to state for the record, once again, that website hosting for $6,000 a year is completely and utterly outrageous. I cannot understand why that is being paid so much money when, you know, I website hosting is not that expensive, and this is not a complicated website. So that really has to be reopened and looked at carefully. Why that is being paid is beyond me. So I know this is some carryover from a previous administration, but Colby, that kind of money could be put to so many different uses, and it doesn't need to be that high.
No, I agree. And this is a legacy, and then we don't need to stick with this.
Yeah,
at
well,
all.
Um,
But we need to, somebody needs to go out and investigate this and
It's an
find
outreach
out.
question committee.
it's a what?
Someone needs to go out and find the vendors.
Yeah,
and
well,
it
I can I can recommend a couple, but
city approved vendors.
And they have to be city approved. Yeah, this is an outreach committee.
And it's fine. I want this money to go towards something else.
Yeah, I mean,
We all do.
we could have a party or, you know, plant
No,
flowers or
Don't
something.
say that.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
Now, Arthur, back to that were the funds. Now, maybe you can't answer this. Maybe you don't know, but it was actually $7,400 and I believe $10, which was, I was told, encumbered for the WRT contract that wasn't fulfilled 3 years ago.
So, yeah.
Those funds that were encumbered, are they still, that $7,400 floating around, essentially that was put back into our general coffers and then last year paid out to, our expenses and of course our NPGs, which are valuable for our community. But is that $7,410, is that money still encumbered even though it's not in a separate account? See what I'm saying?
So the WRT was initially passed back in, I want to say, May 2020, and it was encumbered, and we did have a special motion for it to carry it forward into the next fiscal year. So that is all true. So it crossed from the 1920 fiscal year into 2021, and then it also crossed again in 2021 into the next fiscal year. So and then you're correct that we did pay down a lot of, or we did fund a lot of projects this past fiscal year. So those funds did cross 2 fiscal years. But I don't know if I'm answering your question or not.
But my question is, let's say now we have 28,000 and change in the bank.
Yeah.
Essentially. But is that $7,400 and change? Is that still encumbered? Is $7,400 of our budget still encumbered for this project? Do you think? Or maybe you don't know.
That I'm going to go with I don't know, but okay. I can get the details for that for you.
Right. Just because we spent some of the money on other things doesn't mean when new money comes in,
yeah,
that could still be effective. In effect, that encumbrance could still be valid. That's
so, Colby, may I ask, you're referring to the monies or the funds that were discussed at last night's plum meeting and were earmarked at some point, and whether or not they've been rolled over, if they're encumbered or what, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Yes, it's the same amount. Yeah. They
Okay.
said 8,000 last night because but the actual amount is $7,400 and I believe $10.
All right. So
change.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding last night, and we certainly need total clarity on this, my understanding last night was that those funds were not encumbered because they had never been approved in the first place.
They were, yes, they were, but then they were. So here's how encumbrance works, from my understanding. And Arthur, please correct me. say you have a project like this project or some other project you want to do, or something else you want to fund, you set aside that money, and that was voted upon, over 2 years ago, for that money to be allocated to that development or that project. Then if that money has to be used for that, essentially, I believe, and if it's not used for that, Arthur, please correct me, then it gets swept back into the city's coffers.
Yeah, that's what I understood. With one.
But it can still be swept in, even though that money was spent on PALs and other NPGs. There's still $7,400 like debit towards this encumbrance. You see what I'm saying? It'd be like if you owed someone $7,400 and you spent money on something else, but you still owe them that money.
Yeah, I mean, I would be interested to know, Arthur, what the disposition of that money is, where it is it with us, with the city, et cetera?
So Arthur, I have an email ready to go, and let me read you this email. I have ready to go to the city clerk regarding this. It's Mariel from the city clerk who I spoke with. And let me look up my draft. I'm going to read this to you briefly. Dear Mariel, regarding our August 24th, 2022 video call during which we discussed the GTLNC's 134 Informant Underpass project, were the funds that were set aside for that project approximately $7,400 encumbered? And if so, what options does our NC now have regarding those funds? Thank you, Colby. Is that an appropriate email? Or is there something else I should add? Because the person who could answer our question.
I would say that they are encumbered, and I'll even go a step further, and I'll even provide the board documents that encumbered them.
And what does that mean, though, going forward, like right now and where we stand right now? Does that mean that money has to be spent for this project? And if it isn't spent for that project, then the money is swept back into the city and it's gone from us?
That is a good question, and I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, that's why. So that was my email to Mariel. That I didn't send it yet, but I wanted to get to you. Do you want me? Can you send me those pages, and then
I shall. I'm looking for it now.
Okay, great, and I'll send this off tomorrow and get an answer from the clerk. Okay. So that's my discussion for now until we have further answers from above. Thank you.
So
Tess, any more questions?
No, I'm just curious to know how this, where the money is, and I'd love to know as well. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Tess.
And Colby, would you, later, if you don't have it handy, could you let me know the date when that funding was discussed and voted on and approved? Because I don't recall.
Yeah, when Arthur sends me those documents, I'll have that information. It's somewhere else, but it'll be easier if you have it.
I'd love to hear that. Okay, thank you. And I think Jonathan is trying to comment. He's been having some connectivity issues.
Let me see where he is. Okay, I see a hand raised. Let me bring him on. Hi, Jonathan.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, thank you. I had a really terrible time getting on the internet. I think it has to do with the weather out here. It interferes. In any case, Arthur, I understand your report here. I looked over it very carefully. I picked up in the middle of the conversation. So what I was able to understand, just tell me if this is right, that you're talking about the $7,500 from the Foreman angled parking project. Last night, it was said that the money was returned to us, and it sounds like you're realizing that we never got the money and still may owe it. Is that right? Did I just make sense? Because what I heard last night made sense, unless it was said that we received the money back from the city and then gave it out in unrelated MPGs. Is that different now? You didn't say it, Arthur, but Colby was there last night in the meeting. Is that what you're talking about?
That is correct. That is what we're talking about.
Colby, it doesn't make sense because last night, what was understood by everyone, unless it's not the fact now, was that, say 1 or 2 years ago, the neighborhood council voted on, allocated $7,500 to the Foreman angled parking project. Nothing happened. Let's leave it at that. Nothing happened. And the neighborhood council saw the opportunity to take the money back from the city rather than let it go to revert to the city coffers.
No, no, that's not correct. The city
Okay.
never approached us and said, hey guys, this isn't working out. Here's your money back. They never unencumbered the funds.
Now I understand. Okay, so
But
that's different than last night.
however, the fact that the fact that the city is telling us to re-vote on this could mean that it's unwound. I just don't know, Jonathan.
Okay, got it.
You know,
Okay.
it could be that the encumbrance is unwound.
Okay.
It could be that it's still encumbered. And this is only something that the city clerk is a very advanced piece of accounting for us. And I do not know. And that's
Got it.
why.
Okay, let's leave it at we don't know, because I don't want to waste time on things we don't know.
Yeah,
Arthur, I just had a couple of questions. Your report looks perfect. I understand it all, except I just want you to say yes or no if I understood this. It looks like August, oh God, I can't even read my own writing. August, the social media was prepaid. And it looks like the July and August website charge was paid after. Is that correct? Because there's a blank and then a higher amount preceding and post. So look at the social media line.
Yeah.
It looks like August was prepaid, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then if you look at July and August of the website, that was postpaid after 2 months. So there's a higher amount.
Okay, got it.
Is that what happened?
Are you referring to
Website charge.
website charge? Okay, that is supposed to be $500 a month, right?
I don't know. See, I can't blow it up, or
Yes,
you know,
I believe it's $500.
Yeah,
That's the general.
yes.
Okay, so that was a post. All right. Then my next question is that $7,000 line that says in the budgeting column, it says $7,000 for an in-person event, which
Yes.
budgeted. Is that just a space holder, or what is that expressly?
That is correct. That is a placeholder.
Okay. And my last question is, thinking back at the end of the fiscal year, like in June or May, there was $750 or something like that, 700 something given to the outreach for stickers that seem never to have been done. What happened to that money? Do you know?
Nothing happened with that.
Outreach
That was
question?
outreach. Nick passed away, and Paige had to leave. So
Do you know
that
what
was
happened to the
outreach.
money?
That has to be brought up in the outreach meeting.
Okay. All right. So remember, Arthur, there was like, we don't know about that 700. I guess it might have been lost in the budget changeover.
No. Well, we can approve items, to spend, but I remember, I think I had reached out to someone on that committee, and they didn't provide any of the information to process the payment, so I had nothing to process.
Okay, so it's not, that additional money is not going to come out of our new budget for 22-23, right? We can just forget about it.
We would have to vote on it again.
Got it. So it's forgotten about.
Yes.
Then.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
We can put all of everything. So we put that on the agenda for voting on that. Or-
That would be brought up in outreach.
Okay, we'll have them deal with it.
So our Jonathan can very much bring it up during the outreach portion of Tuesday's meeting.
Well, let's share that responsibility. It's everybody's money. Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Arthur. Any questions? Any more questions for Arthur?
Okay.
So let's vote on July.
Vote on July. Motion C to approve the July 2022 MER and expenditures for reconciliation submission to the city clerk. Colby,
Yes.
Robin, yes. Arthur,
Yes.
motion carries 300.
Okay.
Motion D to approve the August 2022 MER and expenditures for reconciliation submission to the city clerk. Do I have a first? I'll be the first.
Yes.
Robin,
Colby
Colby
second.
second. Great. Arthur, you want to bring, there it is.
Sure. I brought it right up. So we had finished July with 29.9. We had operating costs that consisted of Google for $108 and then MailChimp of $28.99. And so we had finished August with 29.8. I can go back to the budget file if you want to do that, but any discussion on this?
Let me look. I don't see any hands raised, so
Okay.
nothing.
So motion D to approve the August 2022 MER and expenditures for reconciliation submission to the city clerk. Colby, how do you vote?
Yes.
Robin, yes. Arthur,
Yes.
motion carries 300.
And then Colby, I forwarded you an email regarding the encumbrances.
Oh, good.
Where this was specifically called out. And so you have that. It's from June of 2020.
June.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And this has
So-
the documents attached. Let me see.
All the invoices, the motion forms, the board vote count forms, all that stuff.
Great.
Is it attached? Let me see. I guess I see emails, but I don't see an attachment.
Okay.
On that. Oh, wait, I do. Hold on. Maybe I do see a little.
It's probably the original email. Has everything.
You know, the attachments might not have come with it, unless. Oh, I see. The attachments are actually in the email itself.
Yeah.
I believe. Okay, I was looking for actually a little attachment at the bottom. Okay, this good. I think it's. I see. Request. I see. That's the seal. Okay, thank you.
Ongoing business. The first item is youth board seat. Colby?
Yes, we have two applications. Jake Tiddick, whom we all know, and also Grant Whelan, Whelan. They've both applied, and so we'll vote on them. Actually, I have to. The way, actually, if you remember, the way it works now is I put forward
One name,
one name.
and then we vote on that
Right.
candidate.
I keep everything changes, and then we also have for the at-large board seat, the adult board seat, we have two applicants, Ruby Lascano and Louis Salashi.
Okay, hold on. How do you spell the last name?
Let me bring it up. Sorry, my phone's a little slow. SCHILLACE.
Oh, wait, which name are you telling me first? Ruby?
Well, you asked me. Oh, well, yeah, Ruby, and her last name is LASCANO.
Okay, and Louis?
And the second one is Louis.
LOIS?
Oh, you know what, Robin? Yeah, his last name is SCHILLACE. I'm just thinking. Sorry, I'm thinking this out.
Start with Louis.
But I actually have to make a decision before Thursday. Who's going to end?
Correct.
I was going to meet with Louis on Friday, and that's too late. I just realized this.
No, Thursday, tomorrow.
No, tomorrow's Wednesday,
Oh, God, you're right.
and we'll be meeting on Friday. So that doesn't work. I have to change my in-person interview with Louis, so I'm able to.
Wait. You have to make a decision by Friday, but you're meeting him on Thursday.
No, I'm meeting on Friday. I believe it's Friday.
No, I thought it was Thursday.
Oh, was it Thursday?
Look again.
September.
Yeah, it's Thursday.
Yes, you're right. 4:30.
So we're good.
Yeah. So I guess we're good. Okay.
So how do you spell Louis? LOUIS.
LOUIS.
And his last name?
It's pronounced differently than it looks. So his last name is spelled SCHILLACE.
Okay, great.
And it's pronounced Salashi.
Okay, great. All right.
So yeah, that does get us in time. So
we're good.
okay. We're good with that. Okay. And then I of course the secretarial position
We're waiting on.
I've told all the both adult applicants that they should be prepared to take up that role as secretary, which is essential and difficult. 134 underpass project we discussed with Arthur.
So we're going to
Indigo.
get more information on whether the money, if the city's still holding the money or if the city gave us back the money and we spent it.
Well, yeah, we don't want, yes, the city, if it's encumbered or not encumbered, if it's, we'll get an answer from the city clerk. And to know where we stand with that. I have a feeling it might not be encumbered because they're asking us to revote on it. So that would make me think it's not encumbered, but I want to get a final answer from the clerk. And then Discovery Shop awning logo size issue. Good news. I heard back from the city. They don't issue a requirement on the logo size on the awning or on this awning. The Discovery Shop vendor has told me that, or the Discovery Shop vendor has told Discovery Shop, who has then reached out to me and told me that they could do a 1 foot by 1 foot logo. I didn't crawl up there and look and see what they would give us, but I'm wondering if we could do a little bigger. I'm thinking about asking for an 18-inch logo by 18-inch logo. I can't get too big and take away from the main sign. Again, we don't need to vote on this. I don't want to bring this up for a vote. I'm just going to reach out, and I think I'm going to ask for a little larger logo for us. I'm happy to hear a little bit of discussion on this, but I'm not going to go in deep on this one. It really couldn't be anybody under 2 feet. I can't imagine before it gets distracting from the main signage. So I'm going to write down 24 inches or possible 18 inches. So that's that. Any new business beyond what we already discussed? I see Jonathan has his hand raised. Let's see. Hi, Jonathan. I think you can
Thank you.
talk.
Yeah, I would just tell you, Colby, that you are the president, and I'm comfortable with whatever resolutions you take on that awning. Probably the whole board would feel that way, just because the president is supposed to have additional powers than the rest of the board, and that would be a good example of them. On that point, I wasn't listening. I couldn't get on earlier in the meeting, but there were those motions that I sent you that have everything, the two of them have everything to do with stakeholders. One is the 4118, and the other is a letter to Krikarian. And then the third that I wanted to bring up, in case it hasn't been raised, was the correction that I found that needs to be done to the bylaws. Was that raised already, or shall I talk that through?
That was not. You're welcome, Ms. Public. You're welcome to mention it. You had four. You and I discussed four possible motions today, and I because it gets bandwidth, I chose the two to discuss, which are 4118, which is, I read both those letters, and the Krikorian letter of and so what we've done is we're putting those on as motions to discuss and not to vote on at the next meeting.
Okay, at least it advances it so the board can hear.
And I didn't get those to the exec board. I just read it myself, and I verbally discussed them before you got on the meeting, and we came to the decision, the exec board came to the decision to place those two as motions to discuss with the general board next week.
They're not motions. They're
items to discuss.
Okay, thank you. And I'll talk about that problem. It's a mistake in our standing rules. I just wanted to call it to the board's attention, everyone, that I'm sure you all remember when we were voting on the amendments. I believe it was Matt had raised the issue that created an amendment where the board decided that they did not want to reduce the power of the president, because previously the president had the ability to singularly put something on the agenda. You all remember that? And what we had agreed as a board was we were just going to enlarge that ability to include board members. And it was ultimately decided that any two board members could place something on the agenda. Now that's fine. That was all properly done in the bylaws and in the standing rules. Here's where the problem comes up, is when they were written, the standing rule, the combination of the bylaw and the standing rules, they forgot to put the word "and the president." So it should read that Colby also, we never, I wasn't on the board, but I clearly remember that no one on, or the board had voted that they do not want to reduce the power of the president. That was something specific that Kevin Dees made the second to it, Matt's objection, and it was voted on. So I'm sure you all remember that you all wanted to retain that. I'm just remembering clear as can be. So it's my determination that the wishes of the people who voted then be in the bylaws and the standing rules. So there's a mistake, and I've given Colby the actual wording of the motion. If he'll put it on the next meeting, it's simply to add "and the president," so that the president can also singularly put something on the agenda. Why I think that's really important is if, for example, I would like to do something for the community and I talk to Colby, that should certainly function as all of us working together. I should be able to go to the president and say, here, can you put this on the agenda if you agree with me? Certainly I can go to another board member and get two people, but it kind of looks aggressive. And that was never the intention from you board members. You board members wanted the president to maintain that ability to put things on the board so that I'm defending it. And at that time I was against it. But I believe in doing exactly as we agreed, and that's just simply a mistake in the standing rules. And Colby has a motion to put it on meeting in order just to vote to correct it. Am I clear?
I do. Yeah. And I'm happy to ask that to, or have that be.
Okay.
We did pass the tonight. We did pass the general board agenda. And I don't know if we could go back and reopen that. But
Well, it's about preserving your power, Colby, which we want.
no,
Yeah.
I know.
I think we should open up the subject in order to put it on, just to get it out of the way. It should take 2 minutes to vote on it, because I don't think anyone's going to have a lapse of memory. I think everyone.
I would, if you want to go back and pop that on.
I recommend it just to get it correct, because I know what the board wanted, and that's what they wanted. And I think it's correct. It'll make things work better.
I saw that it could be helpful. I'm trying to, again, it's about bandwidth. It's about the election. We have a busy night next Tuesday, and this could be, a lot of people might have I don't know.
I don't think anyone's going to challenge it. No one's going to challenge. I just don't think anybody would challenge it. You're a popular guy. Robin, do you recall that? Robin, do you recall?
Yeah, I'm listening to this, Jonathan, and I'm my hesitation about all of this is just, I understand the conversation, and I absolutely want to learn more about both of these letters. I want to read them. I want to see what, Jonathan, you wrote.
I'm talking about the bylaws right now.
No,
it's different.
No, I'm talking about even opening up the discussion again. We already voted on this, and we are going to have a discussion about it. But, again, Jonathan, you're one person speaking for an entire board. Even if Tess or Colby agree, there's 14 or 15 of us. And, I just feel, to be fair to the board, that the board in a meeting be able to discuss whatever item, whether it's the encumbered money or anything. We're having a meeting right now as the exec board to talk about things that we're going to discuss, but it really, all we are is a facilitator to make sure that these things are discussed. That's our job. But to actually make decisions about, motions and things like that, sometimes I'm a little hesitant, because things get passed so quickly, and there's no, people need time to kind of discuss it. I don't know. I'm just trying to listen and understand.
Well, the question here that I asked was whether or not you recollected that it was the intention of the board about a year ago to safeguard the powers of the president as they previously stood. You were part of that discussion.
Yeah, no,
and if you don't recall it, that's fine. I thought for certain you would recall that That's all I was asking. Do you
Yeah,
recall
no,
it?
I recall.
Okay, well, that's the point.
No,
is I'm-
it's true. It was very, I do recall it because it was very close. At first it
just-
was not that,
The
and then it
point
went.
is to get it back in order as quickly as possible. And if you simply put it on the agenda as a motion so that the board votes on it and corrects their standing rule, then it's out of the way. It's really not a large,
It's the motion I have the issue with, not the discussion.
well, how else are you intending to do it? If
It's-
you want to
it's
change your standing
discussion.
rule, it's just, well, that's the
Robin,
point of it. You have a
Robin.
motion.
Yeah,
so that
Robin,
you discuss it. The way,
I-
let me finish. The way it works is parliamentary. What you do is you take a first, you've done this. You take a first to open the discussion. If there's a second, the discussion opens. If someone makes a motion, you don't necessarily have to have it on the agenda, but at any point in time, someone can raise a motion. So it's really
Yeah,
it's
but
just simply in order to correct our standing rules to enable Colby. I mean, there's nothing in my mind. There's nothing going on. There's no fox on tail or anything in this conversation. It's just that Colby is a friend and the neighborhood council, I regard all of you as friends. That's
Yeah,
in the
that
broad
was
sense.
a little uncalled for, but okay, go ahead.
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Let
I say,
me stick to the point that it's Robin, I'm not following your discussion, your discomfort, but if you're not comfortable with motions and parliamentary procedure, it's okay. I don't mind. But there is here an issue called an error in the bylaws. And the quicker we fix the error, then the more respect we're paying to the parliamentary procedure and the process of a democracy. That it is clear to me what the board had intended. And I found that there was a mistake in the last 2 months. And that's all. I called it to Colby's attention. And the quicker we fix a mistake like that, I think the better, because we're supposed to uphold the process of a democracy in this, or at least a corporation in this
Okay,
process.
okay,
So there's a
Jonathan,
mistake. That's what we're
Jonathan,
doing, is to fix it.
thank you. Can I have a quick conversation with Colby before you interrupt again, please? Colby, it is my understanding that they want to put a motion to open discussion. I feel that the public has the right to learn about this either through committee, which it didn't sound like it went through, so we're bringing it into exec. It needs to go and have a discussion. We can talk about it like anything else that we do. And we have a discussion. And if we deem at that moment that a motion should be put on the next agenda, I'm all for it. I am all for a motion. But I don't feel, I think it's, I don't want to say dangerous, but I feel if a motion is put on, it holds weight more than a discussion. A motion holds weight. So if something is discussed as a motion and we have to make a vote, many times I have seen in the years I've been on the board, people don't understand the weight of what they are voting on, and something gets passed through. And then we have this after, the motion is passed, people said, what did I vote on? And what did that mean? And so I'm just concerned. I haven't seen Jonathan's letters. I'm sure they're beautifully written. I'm sure he has great points to make. I usually
We're talking about the bylaws.
hold on, let Robin say a few more words, then I'm going to say something. Go ahead, Robin.
I just feel that we were asked, or at least you were asked. I'm sort of stepping in as secretary at the moment. I just heard about this tonight, about these two motions. I said to you, Colby, I think it's important to have a discussion more than the motion. That's all I'm saying. Jonathan's talking about something completely different, policy, that's fine. But I'm talking about actually putting a motion. And when Jonathan brought up that we should reopen the discussion about the general board agenda, that is what I'm focusing on right now. So go ahead, Colby.
Yes. Okay. So I believe Jonathan is correct that this was an error. I do remember this conversation probably less than a year ago. And I say we put it back. And this has nothing to do with the two letters that Jonathan wrote. That's a separate issue, or separate. We've already resolve that. Those aren't the motions. We'll discuss that at the general board. As far as the correction, I say we put that correction on the agenda for a motion to vote. But in fact, I don't know if we even need to vote, because this was an error, and I don't think we need to vote to correct an error, because there is video and there is proof that this is an error. So I don't think we need to vote on correcting an error. So I'm going to look into this, and because I think this opens up a can of worms, and I think it could try, so I'm going to look into this and just see about just revising or correcting this error, because it might not need a vote. Tess, we're going to move forward, but you can have a minute or two. Hi, Tess.
Her hand is not raised.
Oh, it was, okay.
It is. My hand is raised.
Oh,
Yes.
it's not,
Okay,
it
now
doesn't.
it's-
All right. Well,
So Tess, we're going to move on. I'm going to discuss this
okay.
because this has already been voted on.
Okay,
before.
do I have an
Yes.
opportunity to talk, or?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, real quickly. So, Robin, I'm just sort of confused about your concern with making motions, because certainly we have tabled discussions or postponed voting when people feel they don't have enough information. So, and not to belabor the point, but this is why we're here. We're here to deliberate, to take actions, to vote. And if people don't understand what they're voting on, then A, they either need to say so, B, we table it, or, C, we ask, what is so complicated about this issue? And I'd like to know which items that you can recall we've had to go back and redo because of a failure to understand what we were voting on. I mean, are we hurtling toward oblivion, toward doom as a neighborhood council? Do you know that we've had an average of only 2 CISs passed by this neighborhood council per year since 2015? It's not as though we're taking many actions, and certainly I wouldn't characterize any of the actions that we've taken as being, rash. There's plenty of discussion. So I don't know where the harm is being created and what your concerns are. That's all. I mean, and I believe that this letter of support for Krikorian is very time sensitive. These are very very trying times. We've seen the neighborhood council chambers shut down twice in August, and people not being able to do their jobs or to vote. So I think to wait for another month would be personally a mistake. And I don't know what harm you see occurring by having a motion and a discussion and a possible vote. That's
Okay,
all.
okay. We're going to move on to I'm going to, we have not motions, but we have discussions on the agenda for Jonathan's 2, I think, very thoughtful letters. I'm going to talk to Erica regarding this correction. I don't think it requires a vote, and I don't know if I want to bring it to a vote right now. And if you want to bring up the correction up in new business next week, that's fine too. I'll have more information then, but I do remember it being discussed in the way that Jonathan mentioned. So we're going to move on. Any other new business? I don't hear any, I don't see any. So I'm going to close the meeting at 7:45 p.m. I'll see everybody next Tuesday. Our next exec board meeting is October 11th, 2022 at 6:30. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you all. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.